I appreciated your mom's sign that said "Stop Glen Powell from happening."
No, it was stop trying to make Glen Powell happen. It's never gonna happen. Yeah. You know what I realized is I had like all my cousins there last night, and I had like my sisters and my parents, and I was like, those are the people that simultaneously cheer you on, but also keep you humble. So it was good. It was good to have my parents there. That was a fun that was a funny moment.
So what's the biggest difference between the real you and your occupation?
By the way, my name is Gary Johnson, and I'm a fake hitman.
You're a writer and a producer on Hitman. What's the most you thing in the script, and how does this movie reflect the type of projects you want to make as a filmmaker going forward?
I think this movie really is just the merger of Rick's brain and my brain. Like, I think it's so interesting how, in terms of some of like, it was so interesting how, like, we're just talking out everything in this movie, you realize that it's simultaneously like you're bringing like both sides. Like, I feel like on the inside, so often I feel like Gary, and so often I play Iran. You know what I mean? And I think Rick feels the same way. I feel like Rick is like, you kind of get people like pigeonholing you into one thing or another, and I feel like it was such an interesting time for, like, even on like the different lectures and things like that, like things that I really find to be really fascinating, how those like thematic elements really inform themselves into this really weird dance between these two personalities, and that's how we all feel. It's like this interesting dance, but I feel like Rick and I are like really great partners because we weirdly chase after the same goal. Like, I feel like we both know the finish line that we're going for, and we know the great idea when we find it, and we when we make each other laugh, and when we go, oh my God, that's so crazy, it just might work. It's so fun to do that with one of your heroes. But I would say that this movie really defines, at least for me, the kind of movies that I want to make in the future.
Congrats on being inducted into the Texas Film Hall of Fame. Of your fellow honorees that have been honored over the years, who is your favorite or most influential fellow film Texan of that bunch?
It's so crazy because last night I had Robert Rodriguez induct me in the Texas Film Hall of Fame, and Robert gave me my first job with Spy Kids 3D Game Over, and I got to talk to Robert right before, and he's like, it's so wild to like watch you be like a day player, on this movie, and like really like be so excited to be there, and you could tell like you just loved this thing. And he goes, now I go out to LA and they're like, oh, like we're looking for like a Glen Powell type, and he's like, it's like surreal. He's like it's surreal for me. He's like it's so crazy because he's like, I watched you as like a kid in Austin just loving this thing, and he's like, it's really cool to see you here, and to have that guy, a guy that really showed me a love of film, in a large way, because the way he just made the set feel so lovely. Like, people playing guitar, and he had, it was like great catering, and people playing basketball, people playing games, but everybody's focused, but everybody's just having a great time. It was a real family feel. To have him give me my first movie and then induct me in the Texas Film Hall of Fame was pretty incredible. And I think another really amazing moment through all this has been my relationship with Linklater and McConaughey. And with Rick and Matthew, they're two people that their relationship, their collaboration has always been something that's just like, I mean, what they've gotten to make together is really exceptional. And to call them both friends now, and to be able to call on either of them in moments of doubt or confusion, it's like, that's what Texas is about. State motto is friendship. And I feel like I got a lot of great Texas friends now that are not only supporting me, but helping guide me.
You've just moved back to Texas recently, I read. Was that like a mental wealth, mental well-being kind of thing, or just had you had enough of LA?
Yeah, look, I think the goal was always whenever I got enough traction out in LA that I could, sort of return home. I've always kept a place here in Austin, but I finally got the place that I really wanted, that I could kind of like, be near my parents. My parents just turned 70, and it's you want to enjoy every moment you have near your family. So I feel like on a mental health level, I think anybody that knows me knows I love movies and I love the business and I love the fact that you can go out to Hollywood and everybody is out there kind of for the same reason. It's like really fun to watch, to be around people that love movies and love the business. However, I think that sometimes that echo chamber can be not so great for you on the mental health level, and the fact when you do are consume movies and entertainment, I think you could become a little self-aware and maybe a derivative of yourself, and maybe even your personal life. There's no sort of freedom there. There's storytelling around that, and I feel like that's just not good for you on the long term. So all the people that I've respected, and people that I think have been able to manage their health and their family's health over the course of time have kind of managed to jump out and then be able to pop back in whenever they want.
Well, Brisket probably likes the Texas barbecue better than
whatever. Brisket. There's better meat. There's better meat in Texas than there is in California. That's for sure. And yeah, Brisket's liking the space. I think Brisket's really he's gotten a lot of good cardio here in Texas. He hasn't experienced a Texas summer yet. We'll see how he does.
Or Texas tornadoes.
Texas tornadoes, yeah.
Yeah.
He actually has experienced a tornado when we were on the set of Twisters. This was very, very early in Brisket's life. He probably doesn't even remember it at this point. But while we were on the set of Twisters, that was like the first couple weeks I had him. We were on a set when a tornado touched down.
So what was a hairier experience, being up in a real fighter plane for Top Gun, or dealing with just the man-made craziness, but also probably the real life crazy, real natural craziness for Twisters?
Those are the thing that it's like the movies that I've always been drawn to as a kid are the ones that were sort of like really big in scope, but like intimate in the storytelling, and always did something like on a technical level that was just kind of mind-blowing. You look at like the first time I saw Jaws or Jurassic Park, or when you saw the original Top Gun, it's like they're doing something on a technical level that you're like, how is this even possible? And Top Gun Maverick, it's like that was a true collaboration with Top Gun the institution and Top Gun the movie, to be able to pull that off for audiences. And like Twisters is a really interesting example. It's not like we were collaborating with Mother Nature, but you are shooting this thing in Tornado Alley in Oklahoma, and you're really what we're doing is we're using Spielberg and Chris Nolan's like greatest crew members, the best minds in the business, to really create this amazing like visceral experience for audiences, where they're right there in it. And it's a hard thing to emulate, and unless you are on the ground getting hit with every piece of debris that they can muster up and throw in front of a jet engine fan, it's like the audience isn't going to feel it. But that's what it was like. That was like Top Gun was a visceral, intense experience, and so was Twisters. So, the movie really turned out. It's really good.